Hi everybody. How's everybody this morning? Give a few minutes because I'm a few minutes early for folks to log on. Hi Randy. Hello Bonnie. Let's see. Is everybody ready? Anybody gonna work along with me, or are you just gonna watch? Hey Tony. Hey Catherine. I think we just got about one more minute till noon and we'll get going. Well, noon Montana time. It's 2 Eastern time. So okay, I see most people who've answered said they're just going to watch, which is good. If you haven't ever made one of these before, the first little bit can be sort of tricky. So, can everybody hear me all right, or do I need to speak up? Hi, Carolyn. Okay, looks like it's about 12. We'll give it maybe a minute or two more. Oh, it is 12. Okay, so for those of you who have never seen one of my tutorials before, I'm Rose from In Rose's Garden, otherwise known as Rosanna Brafford, if you see my name on stuff. We're going to make a tiara today, and it's just going to be a simple one. I was going to make original plan was to make a more complex one, but then I decided that would, number one, take too much time, and number two, for anybody who's doing beginning wire work, it would have been rather daunting. So I just switched to something a lot more simple, and we'll turn down here in just a moment and get started with that. So here we go. Camera's going to be a little tricky for a second there. Okay, let's get it over here a little more. Okay. Okay, what we're going to need is some 16 gauge German style wire. I've cut 2 big pieces. You need enough to go around your head plus a little bit more. So I've cut 24 inches. My head's not that big, but we needed that little bit more. We need some, well, I'm using 20 on these, but I just said you needed 22 because 22 will work fine. These are 4.5 inches, therefore connecting the wires together. And then we'll need 22 to do the wire wrapping to put the beads on. And I'm using some beads from the Live Your Dreams bead mix, and these are what we have here. This one's going to be in the center, and then these are going to be decorating down the side. Then we need a lobster claw as a closure, as well as this is an extender chain, which I'm going to add to it. And then I think I'm going to put this little tiny star that was in the mix. This is what's left. On the end with this little thing to add a little bit more oomph to it. Now, you don't have to use an extender chain to finish your tiara up. You can use ribbon or leather. The first one I ever made, I made it for a friend's wedding, and we used leather on it. So, we used a pretty ribbon that would match her wedding dress on it. So that was pretty cool. For tools, you'll need your oval wire mandrel. We're going to use this little piece here to make the little drop here on the top. So that's the first thing we're going to do, is put that little piece in right here, and then we'll put this crystal in with both wires. This is the place where it gets tricky, because they're going to want to fall apart as you're trying to put them together. So this is the fun part. After you get these two pieces in right here, breezing. So you need to take one of your pieces of wire to start with. This is the 24" 16, and you want it more or less folded in half. But you want that middle spot. Put this one aside for right now. So once you find where the middle spot is, take your wire mandrel, pull it around, and then babies, make a couple of twists right here to form your little drop here. Okay. Now, did I go off camera some? Because I have a tendency to do that, and if I did, I apologize. Let's shape that a little better. Okay, see, we have the little drop there at the bottom now. Now the next thing we need to do is we're going to form a sort of bow right here, because we want the crystal to sit in the middle here. And we're off. Let's see if I can fix this so we're looking more at my hands better here. Okay, I think that's better. Okay, so once we have this bend here, we want to see about how big our crystal is going to sit in here. So you can see it goes right here in the center, so it's not very big, maybe 1/8 to 1/4 inch on either side. So then we just want to then bend up again. And yes, I used my fingers for most of this. My fingernails turn rather nasty after, especially my thumbnail. I tend to get a big divot in it after a while. Okay, now that we have that, take this and carefully just sort of swing it out. With light pressure, go over that way. And try and keep her sort of even here. If this looks like it's not quite straight to you down here, you can take your pliers, but be careful because you're going to mar the wire if you're not careful. Okay, let's see if you're going to sit there. Oh, good. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now we come to the tricky part. over here. We need to put the crystal in with the other piece. Okay, Randy, I saw you said, oh, never mind. What am I? Oh, never mind. Oh, what happened? Okay, so we get this like this. Now we need our second piece, and we need to find the middle of this one also, or as close as possible. We'll probably trim some of this off so it's not like it's a really big deal. Now you want to, once you're there, you want to bow this a little bit up so you can see that it's going to sit right like this. And now we're going to need a piece of wire to put the crystal in. So we're going to cut a little bit of the 22 gauge. I like to put the label, when I pull these out of their blister packs, right onto the wire. Then I don't have to guess what size it is later on. Let's see, will this go through this bead twice? It would be nice if it will. Not sure we're going to be able to put this through twice. Come on, baby. Okay, it's through once. So we'll go through again. Nope, it looks like it won't go through twice, which is a pity because I was thinking I could just put it down here on the bottom and at the top and in the bottom two places here. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to anchor this crystal down here across the bottom on this bottom wire. Wrap it around 2 or 3 times here. And we're going to go up here, push it down into place. We'll go up here and get this place where we bowed it right here on this other piece. Oop, drop the wire. And then we're going to wrap it around here 2 or 3 times. Now I left the bigger end down there because we have the, come on baby, don't be uncooperative. Because we have the it going on just the one side, we're gonna go backwards, wrap around a little bit, and then go back that way again so that it will keep it centered. Come on, baby. Okay. Go back over there. Right. let's see if we got this where I want it. Now, I'm going to pull this up and pull this wire over here with this one to sort of like you would with a wire wrapped loop, just to pull it into place over here on the other side so it doesn't slide around so much. Okay, now let's see if we got this sturdy here. Okay, now this is the next part. We have to put okay, now as you can see, we have this put like here, and we need to bring this place where we bent it some. Let's see, we're about right in the right spot here, it looks like. And we need to pull this up. This is bent too much, because this is not only going to do the bottom part of this, but it's going to be the top part of the next piece. So what we want to do now is take one of our, I did tell you I cut 10 of these little 4.5 inch wires, didn't I? If I didn't, there's 10 of them to hold the loops together. So once we get this one in, life becomes much simpler. Okay, so we're just going to wrap where we've put these 2 bars together, try and get it tight. And we want to put about 4 or 5 wraps in here so it holds pretty good. Now, there is one I've made that I actually had to put these in and then cut them back out because of what I was doing, because I wire wrapped this section, and then when you come back here, this is in the way, so then you have to take it back out again, which is not too horrible. It's not too great either, but it's not too horrible. Okay, looks like I've got that over there further than I want it, but we'll just, for a while you'll be able to move these with your fingers. I do a lot of moving with my fingers. Usually when I'm wire wrapping, this thumbnail becomes really jagged and nasty looking. It's the nature of the beast, unfortunately. I'm using just regular German style wire, penny, round. The bottom 2 bars are 16 gauge, and what I'm working with now is 20. Now you can use 22 for this part if you want. It's probably strong enough to hold these things together. Okay. Just be sort of rounded here. Okay. Okay. Now you can, once you get these all set, you can cut these little extra wires off, and then you'll want to tuck them, of course. I told you you wouldn't need your pliers, but yes, you do. Just to do these little tucks. Because, let's face it, this is going on somebody's head, maybe your own, and you don't want to biff yourself with these little tiny wires. This one wants to be difficult because it's sliding here. That's nothing common for the first few. Once we have these set the way we want them, we'll take our nylon jaw pliers and squish these connections down. But when we wire wrap it, we're going to also take the and tighten these up, because the wire wrap will come across the top of them. You get back there where you belong. Okay. Okay, there we go. Hey, Maria. See if I missed anybody's questions. Yes, Marisol, the beginning is always squirmy. Yeah, once you get past this little bit, it's not too bad. Okay, so we're gonna cut these off. If I go off screen, somebody tell me, because it's my most notorious problem I have is going off screen. We're gonna luckily tighten this up a little bit when we come back in with our wire wraps too. Okay. Okay, now that we've got those little pieces cut off, let's get rid of our trash here. You're squirmy, you're going crooked there on me. I want to get the bows in here. Okay, so now on either side we're gonna make little loops on either side going down. So with the one that comes up, you want to make a little bow here coming so it rolls around towards the bottom, and then with this one coming down from the top, you want to roll the opposite direction. Just carefully put your fingers on it and roll it. If it looks like it's making a sharper bend than you want, you can push it back into place. And we aren't going to do any hardening on this, because all your finger work is going to actually do some hardening on it itself. So when we get the next one in, we take another one of our wires, wire wrap again. And when you're doing this, you have a choice. You can go all down one side before you start the other side, or you can do back and forth. I tend to do back and forth because I like to try and make sure I'm getting things relatively even. I think this top one's a little bit crooked itself, but we can. The wonderful thing about it is you can always work with it until you get it the way you want it. So again, those thumbs are going to come into play all the way the rest of the time you're doing this. This one goes up because we're going with this wire. This one goes down. You see I'm doing that, how I'm pushing up with the with my index finger. I'm pushing down with my thumb at the same time, which it helps make that bow. And on this way, I'm doing it the opposite way, pushing with my thumb and rolling with my index finger. Okay, now this one, see, is bigger than the other side. So either I need to bow this one some more, or I need to even this one out some. And I tend to just eyeball it, but if you want to get your measuring tape out and make sure you're about the same length between your sides, that's perfectly fine. Okay, I think that's good right there. So now we grab the next wire and wire wrap here. I will warn you that if you the wire goes everywhere, so you're probably going to bump everything all over your desk. I know I do every time I work on these things, because my desk is never neat. Okay, let's see if we got it. Oh yeah, that looks pretty good. I try to make sure that I don't go over the other wire, or it makes a little hump. Another thing you can do to make these stay a little better is you can just do a little bit of wrapping on one of your sidebars. See, that's going to hold it more right there, not let it move this direction any. This is still a little wonky. And then we'll do the same with this side, except for it'll be on the upper side. And I'll go back and do the same on the other side so that it's even. Oh, did I pull too much? Okay. Okay, if you're happy with your placement now, then go ahead and clip off those extra wires. This one is a little, not as quite as deep of a bow. There, I think that's better. You use your clippers a lot when you're doing that. Well, Mary, my wire wrapping tends to be neat because, like I said, I shove it around a lot with my thumbnail. Careful when you're cutting these that you don't cut in wire you don't want to cut. I have done that before, and it's sort of heartbreaking, especially if the wire you cut is your base wire. Guess then you're starting over. I was doing quite a bit of wire wrapping for the original one I was going to make, because I figured, well, I'll make some of the pieces early, and really trashed out my thumbnail, because I am very notorious for using my thumbnail to do all of my shoving around on my beads. Okay, so there's the first set of loops. And we're going to start bowing it, because it's obviously your head is not straight. So Now that we've got this first little bit done, and I'm really not that happy with this, but we'll work on it later. Like I said, knock things around with your wires. Okay, so now we need to make our next one. Again, we're going to be coming down, so this one is going to bow up, and this one's coming up, so this one is going to bow down. And this one's already starting its bow, as you can see. So the wire has a natural inclination, because it's been in its roll for so long, to do one of your rolls for you, more or less. So makes it a little easier. See, this one's trying to put a little sharp kink there, but there, just get hold of it and make it do your bidding. I may not need all those, because I may not have made, I may have made my loops a little bigger than I did the last time I made one of these, which is fine. Okay, so we're going to go right here. You can make these loops as big or as small as you want. If you think it looks better with a bigger loop, go for it. If it looks smaller, if you like smaller, that's great too. The only thing you got to consider is that if you're making the loops smaller, you're going to have more of them, and so you'll need more of these little pieces of wire. See, I've got this, it came and pulled itself closer, so we don't want that. We want to pull this open a little bit more. Sort of, so it looks like an eyeball. Or, well, without the eyeball in it, the eyelid. Okay, and we'll go to the other side and do it. Again, this one's already trying to do its curve, and that's what we want it to do. This one, on the other hand, has to be made to do his. And that one really wanted to bend there. Okay. Okay. Let's see how she is with compared to the other one. It's too big. It's too long, I should say. It's not too wide, but it is too long. So we're going to have to pull it together some. A little bit more here. Now, one thing when you do the wire wrapping on the with putting the beads in, you're going to actually hide some of your imperfections, which is always nice. Come on, baby, wrap around there. You don't have much of a thumbnail, huh, Mary? Okay, let's pull you guys through a little bit. Okay. Let's pull this little eyelid up a little bit. Let's see. Okay, it's pretty close. Put the final two wraps on. Always kills my nails too, Penny. So you can, I don't know if it will focus on my thumbnail here. Oop, come here. You can, it's pretty ratcheted up. And it always is. Okay, now we're trimming wires again. Oh, looks like I didn't do this one. Now what the heck was that? Because my notifications are turned off. Sorry about the buzzing. My notifications are turned off, but apparently it still wants to tell me something's going on. Ah, it was an emergency notification from the park. Those unfortunately will come in through anyway. I live really close to Glacier National Park, and I used to work there before I retired last May. So I get all of their emergency notifications. And they're just telling us that because they had a lot of snow on the east side of the park. Yes, snow, people. Tons of it. Probably about 5 or 6 inches from what I understand. That they are closing some of the roads down, so, which is sad for the people that are visiting, but it's better than having somebody have a car wreck. Especially if they're the folks from down south that don't know how to drive on snow a whole bunch. So anyway, okay, more curve. Let's see if we can get in 2 more, or if it's just going to be 1 more little bow here. Okay, I think I'm too close to the camera, which means it's going to unfocus for you. So let's try and move this somewhere where it's not gonna, oop. My wire's hitting my tablet, so it's taking my stuff off. Okay, this is going to be our last one, it looks like. We're getting close. So, do this one. Wrap. Leave the beads alone. And I know I'm off camera right now, aren't I? Let me get over here a little bit more. Okay. Now that we've got this one done, let's do our couple of little wraps on the base bar. And we'll get the other side. This one wants to be loose, and I don't want it to be, so come here. Okay, while I was playing with that, I loosened my eyeball up a little bit here, or my eyelid, so we need to get that butched back into shape. It looks like this one came out too much. Okay. Okay, now to do the other side. I'm thinking I didn't get the middle, looks like, because we got a lot more wire on this side than the other side. Could it be made into a choker? Yeah, I imagine it could be. You'd want to make very sure that you had your connecting wires down flat, because it would scratch somebody's neck if they weren't. I have never made chokers, primarily because I don't like chokers. Anything closer than a couple of inches to my throat makes me feel like I am choking, so I don't make them, because I tend to try on the stuff I make, and if I'm choking when I'm making it, it's not good. So no, I have never made a choker, Carolyn. Oh boy, we're going to have to adjust our circles once we get this last one put in, because they're looking like they came undone a little bit. That's all right. Okay. Remember when I said something about don't cut your base wire? I almost just did that. Okay. Now let's get our eyes adjusted here, because this one's bigger than the other ones. This one's a little smaller, so it's probably stole from this one. Okay, let's do the same over on this side. Okay. One of the things you're going to find is that one side wants to go up and one side wants to go down. If you can see this, see how this one's coming up further than the other one? Just wiggle it. Okay, let's get these wires cut off, and I do think I've got extra wires here. So, and then we'll squish everything all down, and then we'll finish off the. Okay, finish off the ends. Now, when you get to the ends like this, sometimes you'll discover it's longer than you want, and sometimes you'll discover it's shorter than you want. All you have to do, for either one, if it's longer than you want, just cut off some wire. That's perfectly fine. And if it's shorter than you want, then you're just going to need a longer piece of chain or ribbon to end it up. I have made them where The decoration ends like right here, and the rest is just the base wire, maybe with a few twirls in it or something or a big bow to pretty it up. That's all you have to, just have to decorate it in some way. Mainly because a lot of people are going to wear these under their hair, but some wear it on top, and that's why I put a little bit of some kind of decoration all the way to the end. Okay, I'm going to take my nylon jaw pliers and I'm going to squish these connections. And that's going to keep them more sturdily in place. Okay, so now go run your hand across your connections, see if you need to tuck anything more. Yep, here's one right here. There inevitably is one that wants to be a little sharp, and this one still does. There we go. There's one here too. And there. There you are. Okay, now we want to bow this in like you would for your head. And I'm going to get now I doubt if you guys can see this though, unfortunately, because it's too big. Okay. Oh, that's fine. Okay, see, now I've got a head that I'm wrapping it around. See how this little piece is going to come down by their nose? And as you can see, now I've got it bigger than I want. This part's fine, but this part's quite a bit longer than I want. So we have to make the decision if we're going to make our connecting loops at the top or at the bottom. I usually put them on the bottom and curve upwards, and then I bring this one and make a little decorative loop with it too. So this is where you need your bell making pliers. We're going to take the end here and just curl it up into a loop. And then we're going to do the same with the other side. Come on, baby. This is the small side of the larger size of bell making pliers. Come on, come off. Okay, so now see, this just makes a loop right here. I'm going to twist this up a little bit so it's not too low. Oh, and this one is much longer. So see, I'm going to need to trim that off. So let's figure out how big that is. Come on, baby. Okay, this one is probably a good. So now I'm going to guesstimate how much bigger this side is than this side. And then I'm going to trim that off. Okay, come here, you. Okay, probably almost the whole loop. So just take it and cut where you think about is about the right spot, and then retwist it. And let's see how it looks. Oh yeah, that's much better. So then we bow this piece. This is not quite connected, so we're going to pull it together again. There we go. Now this piece, you can do whatever you want to with it. I generally just cut it off and make a closer loop into the here. You could put a spiral in it, anything that pleases you. Personally, I just like a loop, like I said, and I'm going to cut it off about right here. And yes, I'm using my bead on my 16 gauge because these ones are already damaged, so it doesn't matter. But I wouldn't advise it. I'd advise using a cheaper pair on the 16 gauge wire. So now I'm just gonna roll this one so it's smaller. Let's see how that looks then. Let's make a little decoration here. So let's do the same over here on the other side. And now, if you wanted it really, really simple, you could call it done right here. But we're not going to. We're going to do the wire wrapping. What we're going to do is we're going to take these beads. Let's see. Okay, so I don't. 1, 2, 3. Change one of these purple ones for the yellow one. What we're going to do is we're going to wire wrap these beads onto the upper bar with our, what do I do with the wire? Well, now it's got to be here. It's just using it. Oh, that's right. I dumped it on the floor, didn't I? So what we're going to do here is we're going to take and start our wire wrap here. We're going to actually start it here, run around here, come up here with loose wire wraps, put in two of the little purples and one of the bigger purple. This on the bar. The next one we're going to use two of the little purples and the yellow one to bring the yellow color from the, and then we'll go back to purple, full purple, and then we're going to take two of the little purple ones and put them in here as we come around to add a little bit something more. And then, since we've got the beads to do it, we're going to spread this open some and put one of these crystals into it. Oop, knock them all over the place and you won't have them. So, this is what we're going to do. This is one side. And this will be the other side. I might have one more bead out here that I need. That's fine. Okay. And that's the point. Okay, so we need to get quite a long length of your 22 gauge wire. Now, if you end up not having enough as you go around, that's fine, because we're going to go over the top of these the connections. And when we go over the top of the connection, if we're getting low on wire, we can do an extra wrap here and then bring another new piece in, because that's going to sort of hide the fact that you're checking. And so I'm going to say you probably need about, a good 3 feet at least. Oop, in the wire, that's not good. Now I'm going to be doing a lot of bending of the wire as we do this. Let's see here. Maybe just a teeny touch more. Cut right here. Okay. All right, we want to start by anchoring it right here on our long wire, or you could put it on the short. It doesn't really matter. And I usually put in 3 and then shove them together. This one wants to be loose, so we'll tighten her up. Oh no, what she wants to do is be over her buddy, and that's not kosher. Okay, then we'll just pull her in. And now we're going to wrap around those wires. Now we're going to come in here. We're going to do a loose wrap here. Walk up the edge. Now we're going to put a slightly tighter one because we're going to put our first bead in here. That's going to be one of the little purple ones. So we'll put it on. Slide her down, all the way down, baby. Now you're going to need to hold it below the base wire while you do this, because it's going to try and go anywhere it wants to. And then put in one anchor wire, swing it this way, put in another anchor. Now, as you can see, we're about at the middle, so we're going to put in our big bead now as we come around here. Come on, baby. Let it go. Okay, again, you want to hold it underneath your base wire as you bring around with your anchor. Now a loose and an anchor. Come on, baby. Can't see the hole. There we go. I really love this little bead mix. It's really pretty colored. And I really love the wings that are in there too. If you guys haven't seen them already, there's a pretty little wings in here. I actually have an idea of what I'm going to do with those. I'll probably do a YouTube video on it, so if you want to keep an eye out for that. Okay, now we want to do an anchor. Come on, baby. Behave. Once we get close to the edge, you got to be careful going in to do the twists. I frequently will put my one of my fingers through this loop as it comes around because it's going to want to kink. So if you have a finger inside it, it can't kink. So there's your anchor. And we're going to come in here one more time. With the loose one that comes, and it's going to come down to the wires at the base here. And here we are trying to kink. So we need to stop that in its tracks. Okay, now we're loosely going down on this one, and then we're going to come down and over those anchor wires. Now I don't know, can we see that good? Let's see if I can get it turned so you can see it. Excuse me, need a drink of water. Okay, now that we've got that done and we're over this bar, we're going to go back in here and we're doing one of those loops, those loose stitches that were over here again. We'll come in and we'll do an anchor. Oh, sorry. Unfortunately, we're doing a bunch of wire that's going to want to go everywhere. But we'll try to keep it in. Thank you for letting me know that I was out. Okay, so now hold the little one in place as you bring the wire around again. You want to anchor, do an anchor stitch or wrap, whatever you want to call this. Oops, there goes beads. Do a slightly loose one here. Anchor. Beads go back in your little tray. You're going every which way. Okay, now that we have the anchor in, we're going to put the yellow one in this time because we're on the middle one here. Come on, baby, all the way down. Okay, and I know I'm off the camera again. I'm gonna go this way here. Get these out of the way so that I can pull this in here more. Okay, so hold it, bring it up, anchor. Go over a little ways. Make the anchor stitch. Now we want one of the little purples. Hold it down while we go up and around again to anchor it in place. Curl around here. Okay, now that we've anchored it, we want a loose stitch to bring us down to the new bar where it connects. Okay, we're gonna knot here if I'm not careful here. Okay, come here, baby. And now we're down at the connection again. So just wrap around the connection. And you can wrap more than once around this connection if you want. If you think it needs once or twice, go for it. Now we're back up on the next bar. Anchor stitch for the next little purple. Come on. Okay, hold it down and anchor her in. Longer stitch, anchor stitch, baby, large purple bead. And down and on. Okay, up on here. Anchor her in place. Longer stitch. Anchor. Now we got the other little tiny purple here. Now, if you use a big enough fold beads, you can actually put your beads right onto your base wire, which I did with one of mine earlier, and I've got this bent, and that wire bead doesn't go on. Come on, baby. There we go. Okay. Okay, one more wire and then over the top of the wires for anchor that were anchored to the connecting wires. There we go. Okay, see how it's looking so far. Yeah, I love these colors too. Aren't they pretty? I'm quite fond of them. Okay, now that we've brought this up here, we're going to do one little purple bead up on the side of this big crystal. Come on, wire. Why are you still? Okay, one anchor. Oh, we're over the hour. I'm sorry. If you want, I can do this later off camera. And the rest of this, you can see how it's going. And I can do the finishing piece so that you guys can see how it finishes. If you'd rather do it, you'd rather I do that. Now this bead, when we put it in place here, now we're going to come over and go around the loops on the big crystal, and so that will hold it more in place right here. Here, see how I put that wire around the wire wrap there to hold it from sliding back and forth. Now we'll put in our next going down the side here, put the anchor and put the little purple one. And as soon as I get to this next connection, I'm going to show you guys how to finish it off. So you don't have to stick with me to see it anymore. I'm noticing I'm losing folks anyway. So that's fine. So put this little purple one on here. Actually, I'm not even going to bother. We'll stop right here. You can see how this side looks, I hope. And then we get to here. And I'm going to show you how to end it. And then I will put the little purple bead in here. And I'll finish the rest off camera. And then I'll show pictures. So, I hope that works for you. Sorry, I didn't mean to go out of frame, you guys. So we're going to cut this little one off right here. This is at the end here. Pull this, flip this down here. Now to finish this off, what you need to do is you take the other things here. You're going to put the lobster claw on one side, and then you're going to put your extender chain on the other side. And if you were just doing, if you wanted to do ribbon or leather, you could just tie it right onto these end loops rather than hook anything onto it. Oops, we dropped it. Ah, come on, baby. Stop being so difficult with me. This is one of those things that's not easy to do when you're trying to stay on camera. Turn and on. Maybe we'll work on the lobster claw first. This side doesn't want to go on, right? So, on lobster claw. And this one's a relatively good sized fancy lobster claw. You could use any lobster claw. Just got to make sure your chain will fit in it, which I already tested this and it does. So there's my lobster claw on this side. Now let's see if we can get the chain to cooperate on the other side. Okay, you do it this way. I think my pliers have become magnetized. And there you have it. When you just bring it together by open your lobster claw up. Come on, lobster claw, you slipped sideways. Open it up, hook it on your chain or into your hook, and that's how you finish it off. Now I'm going to put this little star on my chain, down at the bottom of my chain, to make it look a little prettier. This little star was in the pack too. It's a cute little thing. Now I use oval jump rings in case anybody's wondering, because I like the way they fall easier, especially with something that's very thin. You the break is always going to fall in the middle of the jump ring, so it's not as likely to slip out. Oh yeah, fairy silk would be gorgeous on the end of it. Yeah, that would be perfect. So here is what we have so far. We've got the one end all done and decorated. Side, then this pretty crystal up at the top. I'm not sure if that's staying in focus or not there. Hopefully it is. And I'm going to put the little bead in here, and we're going to keep going down this side. But it is almost, it's after, oh, it's almost 1:20. So I'm going to turn this off, and I will post a picture of the finished product as soon as it's done. Oh, and to put the bead in here, just spread this out a little bit until your bead fits, and just wire wrap it either side. This needs to be spread a bit because this bead doesn't want to go in, but that's all right. Just who said pliers were only for closing? So yeah, so it will go in here and then be wire wrapped in place. And I'm going to turn this off right now, and I'll finish off camera, and I will send up, I will post a picture on the website when I've got it done. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you all later, and thank you very much for joining with me.